Aside from the headline numbers, which were themselves rather disappointing, Tesla just meeting street estimates with an adjusted bottom line of about 85 cents a share and only nudging ahead of forecasts for revenue growth. I think really the biggest takeaway, GD, was the fact that we saw profit margins narrow significantly from last year, depending on how you measure them, by as much as 8.5%. And that key number fell under the 20% threshold that investors have been focused upon. And it really just indicates that these price cuts are having a major implication for the company, its profitability, and maybe even furthermore, JD, its overall strategy. Ultimately, Tesla has said that they need to maintain market share, particularly in key geographies around the world. We're talking about the United States and China for the most part, but they've instituted price cuts in Europe and elsewhere. Here in the United States, one of the big reasons, one of the big drivers for the price cuts was to ensure that the purchase price fell below the threshold that would qualify the vehicles for tax credits from the Inflation Reduction Act, which of course is part of President Joe Biden's broader economic strategy. Now, those targets are a little bit moving, and no one's exactly sure which vehicles will qualify on what days, because obviously as well, a person's personal income factors into the decision making. But nonetheless, Tesla wanted to make sure that it was very close to that threshold, if nothing else. Now, in China, one of the instances that drove price cuts was the fact that competition has just intensified dramatically. And it's worth remembering that China is the world's biggest car market. And in the early 2030 decade, there will be no more petrol-powered vehicles sold in China. They will all have to be electrified. So companies are ramping up production there, and as a result, trying to buy market share by selling cheaper vehicles. And some of the competitors in that market have been undercutting Tesla. Tesla has had to match those price reductions, and that, of course, has led to what we have seen with respect to profit margins as a result of the price changes put in place in the United States and in China.